Góðan daginn and allt besta laya. That'll end the Icelandic portion of this video. We're here today. My name is Ken Arnason, and with me is my cousin Glenn Stevens, who is also the son of our famous Fjordkona Anna Stevens. And today we are going to demonstrate how to make Rullupylsa. And for those people who don't know what Rullupylsa is, it is broken down into two words. The rulla means rolled, and pilsa in Icelandic means sausage. Rullupylsa was made from the lamb flank in Iceland, and that was basically because they didn't have much use for that piece of meat. It was the same as how the Scottish people made haggis, or the Ukrainian people make head cheese, or every different culture has a way of using every part of the animal and making sure that nothing went to waste. Our family, my father and my uncle started Tip Top Meat Market Limited back in 1945, and my uncle Valdi and my father had the store for 35 years, and then my brother Brian and myself took over the store, and we had it for another 40 years until we sold the store in 2016. During that time, we made thousands and thousands and thousands of Rullupylsa, and we started off by making it from the flanks. And I remember when I was a kid, they used to get these big boxes of frozen 75-pound boxes of lamb flanks that were all stuck together, and they came from either New Zealand or Australia. Lamb flanks at that time were maybe 20 cents a pound, and when they hit $1 a pound, I remember my Uncle Valde was just thinking the world had ended because this was so expensive, and all the waste and everything we had. And then the price went up because the Chinese were starting to buy up the lamb flanks and use them. So there was more demand for lamb flanks, so the price went up. And so we decided, my father said, well, maybe we should try making it out of the shoulder. So you get shoulder and bone it out and flatten it, and started making Rullupylsa. Well, it turned out to make a beautiful Rullupylsa, and then we started buying boneless Rullupylsa. And in the 75 years that we had the store in the family, I don't think any one person came up to the meat counter and says, can you go and pick me out a nice fat Rullupylsa? Everybody wanted a nice lean Rullupylsa. So now we make them out of the lamb shoulder, and we buy boneless lamb shoulders. And what Glenn has got here, that is a boneless lamb shoulder. You can buy that at Sobeys, Co-op, any superstore, stuff. You go and buy a boneless lamb shoulder, or you can even go and buy a boneless lamb leg.
The leg has less fat.
The leg has less fat, and it's a little bit larger, and you can always cut them in half. So what we've done is, over the years, it's evolved that we've made the Rullupylsa out of the shoulder. And now I'm going to get Glenn to show how this is how it comes. And it comes in a plastic bag, and it comes with a netting.
Yeah.
So Glenn will just explain what he's doing there.
We'll just take the mesh off, and then we'll cut it up, slice it up a little bit, and then start taking some of the excess fat off it.
So after Glenn moved back to Gimli and was semi-retired and then retired, that he was always hanging around the store. Of course, well, nobody comes and hangs around the store without being put to work. So he used to help Marie Foams, who worked for me, that she was a master at making Rullupylsa, and Glenn used to go in the back and ended up helping Marie, and they would make...
The pay wasn't very good.
But he had free coffee.
Yeah.
So Glenn's got that kind of flattened down, and he's going to now pound it a little bit to flatten it. So when you've got that pounded, we're going to put the spice, the Rullupylsa spice, and you can see I have it here. And Rullupylsa spice is the proportions, because we always mix it. When I mix it in a rather large quantity. But if you take a, let's say a 1 ounce or a tablespoon or something, if you would put one tablespoon of allspice, 1 tablespoon of cloves, a half a tablespoon of pepper, and then you would put about 10 tablespoons of salt. And then you would add about a tablespoon of the curing salt, and then you mix it all up. Glenn's going to sprinkle it quite liberally. Then you put the onions on top, which is very important. You put the onions. We used to, when we do it at home now, we'll just take it and wrap it up tight in cellophane or in a tight plastic bag. Put it in your fridge as long as it's rolled up and put in the net. Then you can let it sit for 4 to 5 days. So I've done it in 2 days, but the longer it sits, the more flavor it has. So when you put it into your fridge, you just rotate it, and that's almost the same process as the brine, and it does turn nice and red, as I'll show you. So over here, what we also came up with a way, we used to tie this, and then we decided we'll use netting. Now you can reuse the net that came with on the shoulder. Now Glenn's got the spice and the onions in there, and he's going to take this and we're going to drop it inside this 2-liter bottle. And when it goes in there, it'll slide nicely into there, no problem. And we put the net on top. We slide it down. And when you turn it upside down, give it a little shake. And out comes the Rullupylsa, all in the net.
Tuck it in, yeah.
And we just tuck it in, and there. Now you have a prepared Rullupylsa. So, after you have that, we take a little bit more spice, we put on the outside. And we kind of rub it in. We like lots of flavor in ours, and we put it in a plastic bag like this. Put it in a plastic bag, put it in our fridge, and rotate it every couple of days. Well, we're back. Isn't that amazing technology? 5 days later, and we're still here, but we've had our Rullupylsa. It's been cured and boiled. And what we did was, it's very important when we boil the shoulder Rullupylsa, take it out of the bag, put it into, make sure you got enough water that covers it completely. A little tip that'll always keep you very popular with your wife or husband or that. I always take mine and boil it outside on my barbecue.
Yeah. Always do it outside.
Always do it outside, then you don't have the whole house smelling like Rullupylsa. And so what we do is we take it and boil it, and I will boil it. And Brian and I had found out that boiling it for about 1 hour and 45 minutes to 2 hours is perfect. Anything over that, you end up losing too much weight. And in the Rullupylsa, it's not making it any more tender or any more flavorful. So it's very important. Around 2 hours for a large one, 1 hour and 45 minutes for a small one. Once it's finished boiling, and when it's boiling, I mean a simmer or like a slow roll, and then put it in the fridge to cool. So you want to keep it tightly compacted. Like this one we've done, and you can see it all stays together, and it's got a nice red color. We take the net off, make sure you always take the net off, and then when you slice it down, you never want to slice Rullupylsa too thick, because it always tastes better when it's cut fairly thin. And you can see how nice that Rullupylsa, it's got beautiful color, and it's very nice and lean. This is a good way to make Rullupylsa, and it's very popular and a good way to keep the tradition alive and to keep the younger generation to something that they like.
Yeah, just look how meaty that is. Nice and red color.
This is a North American. Now it's got to be like Viinatarta and Rullupylsa have become more of a North American tradition, and it's something we'd like to always keep alive and pass on to one generation to the next. Thank you. Skål.
Thank you. Eat some Brennivin.
That's good.
Very good. This is the best Rullupylsa I've tasted, other than mine. from
Yeah,
last week.
no, this is better.